it your whole life. I'm not gonna tell you what my nickname was in school. I'm gonna
Got
tell
every
you.
single one of them over, I gotta check it out.
I did better on these. I skipped yours.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Sorry, I know where you're
It'll come around January anyway.
What's the hurry?
Christmas bonus.
No years.
Yeah, but where did I see it? I saw it yesterday. Could have sworn it was in here, but obviously it wasn't.
Public notice that we exchanged.
Was it rolling?
Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Notice of this meeting has been provided to the public in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act by publication in the South Jersey Times and the Elmer Times, newspaper circulated in the Salem County, and by posting notice in the Salem County Clerk's Office and the SCIA offices. Copy of the board minutes and a video of this meeting will be posted on scianj.com. Please join me in flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do normally start that, but I do it, I let you do it.
I want to make sure everybody was up.
And wait,
Roll call.
Susan Bestwick,
Here.
Ronald Howard,
Present.
Louis Schneider,
Here.
Peter Voorhees.
Here.
John Porterfield.
Here. We have minutes of the regular meeting, October 9th. Tab 1. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the special meeting, October 21st.
that's the fax, I'm doing a continuous fax, so you can
Don't.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Send
It's still in there.
Okay, the minutes of the special meeting, October 21st. Any additions or corrections? And then I'll take a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have our solid waste division manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm gonna pass out something here real quick. I was asked to add the breakdown of the taxes onto our document receipt, so we did. And I want to show you where it ended up. And I did it
There's a question about
at no charge.
Go girl.
We were not charged, because we stuck it somewhere where we had a space where I could actually put it. So it's broken down, it only applies to solid waste that's landfilled, it doesn't apply to, there's one for you, want to pass up to Scott. And, it doesn't apply to cover. And we can change that if the taxes ever change. I can go in actually to the entry screen in the database and change that if we need to. So, that's good.
Was there host community benefits?
I didn't put that on there, 'cause
Yeah,
that's not a
it's
tax.
up in-
Because it's what?
It's not a tax, it's not considered a tax, right? Oops, sorry.
Okay.
Have a seat, sir. I did not put that on there, but I can add it. There's probably
Yeah,
enough character
it's
space
still up
line
in
to,
question right now, so.
let me know, if you wanna put that on there or not.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you don't, I mean, this goes right in the database, so you don't have to worry about things you're printing. You're not printing these
No, that
in
actually,
advance
no, this comes up on every sale that we do
When it-
automatically.
when it prints it.
Yeah, but I can change the data if I need to change the data, if the taxes go up or down, or obviously they may go up, so I can change it if it goes up.
We can go down.
Or put something else on there. I might have to abbreviate a little more, because there's only so many characters in that
Right, you
space,
can-
but, yeah. You have my written my written report, you have my statistical report with the graphs. I want to just point out a couple of things. Our revenue for landfill tonnage is down just slightly compared to last year by about $10,000. Municipal tonnage is down by about 200 tons. But interestingly enough, 13C is exactly the same. 896.89 tons. That's bizarre. I actually double checked that because I couldn't believe it was exactly the same.
The scale stuff?
No. Other tonnage is up slightly, about 60.01 tons. And the other landfill tonnage is almost exactly the same. Convenience center revenue's down just a little bit. Yes?
Why do you think municipal tonnage is down?
I think it fluctuates, to be honest with you. I think it goes up and down, but it's only a difference of about 200 tons, so it could easily pick up here.
Could be recycling more.
We see that outside the county as well. That fluctuates as well. They may be high one time and then they'll be low and then they'll high, and yeah. So overall, it's probably just about right on. Leachate has doubled from last year at the same time, just to let you know. More space, more landfill space, more water, more rain. We had twice as much rain as we did the same period last year. Any questions about my written report or the graphs?
So you're saying total revenue is down up from
About $10,000 compared to last year at the same time in October.
But that could be the working salary also.
Yep, I'm pretty sure it is.
Can we talk about light bulbs?
Can we talk about light bulbs?
No, do you want to talk about light
Sure,
bulbs?
if you want to talk about light bulbs.
You're almost done?
Yeah, I only have a few left to give out Saturday, then we're completely finished. And we gave them out, I had
Saturday is
the
shredder,
document shredding event is Saturday,
that's here.
which was in the paper wrong, so I wanted to let you know that I'm sending it to everybody. And we've had a lot of calls on it because the paper put it in wrong, so
Which paper?
today's Sunbeam. The graphics department did not make the changes that I sent, so they put the ad in exactly like it was in March.
Thank you, you did a good job with that, and the DEP's gonna be very happy that we fulfilled our end of the.
Oh, with the light bulbs, yes, yeah, yep, they sure will. Any other questions?
Can that be considered the light bulb, the whole light bulb program, can that be considered a recycling program considering it saves?
I think it's an energy saving, yeah, it's an energy saving program, so we're offsetting the fact that we didn't have to pay the total fine, and we're giving out bulbs that are using less energy. But interestingly enough, those bulbs will come back to us at a household hazardous waste event years to come.
But not as frequently as regular light bulbs.
No,
So
no, those spiral
there's
ones,
hazardous materials in those lights.
any LED, yeah, any of
And
those.
I know
bulbs.
the fluorescents have a lot of them.
Yeah, the LEDs and the CFLs will all come back to us. But they're so minute in weight, and we pay by weight, they don't even really count. You know what I mean? They're so small.
Anything else for Melinda's report? Thank you. Have the engineer's report? I had a question about that. Are there any questions about the engineer's report? Dated November 4th. Anything to elaborate?
Just that our solid waste permit renewal was filed October 7th, and we've heard nothing from the DEP, and probably won't for a while.
Under the solid waste division, we should get a couple of resolutions.
Yes. They're coming up. Yeah, I filed my permit renewal for my little thing in February, and having heard that they received it, other than I returned receipt requested.
Well, our cell line was approved on Friday, so the same people that would look at the solid waste renewal would be the same people that approved our cell line, so I'm sure they're not even, it's not even on their radar screen
Right.
yet. Yeah, to even look at it.
Okay, I have 2 reports for the solid waste division. Are there any Is there any objection to them? Hearing none, I'll have those two reports received and filed. We have resolution 99, I believe. That's it. The transfer, resolution of Salem County Improvement Authority authorizing transfer of line item amounts in the 2014 Solid Waste Division budget. It transfers from PERS, account 112, 7,000 to unemployment compensation 121, and from salaries and wages, account 100, $600 to recording secretary, $600.
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Recording secretary's breaking the bank.
That's all we have extra meetings.
Resolution 100. Resolution of the Salem County Improvement Authority authorizing the payment of bills for the solid waste division. Now therefore be it resolved by the SDIA that these bills totaling $193,647.55 by check, and bills in the amount of $131,337.09 for electronic payment, and $5,923.75 be approved by manual check.
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I guess I have one question. Western Zane, Western Apparel. What do we
Safety
get?
clothing and shoes,
What do they?
safety shoes, and personal protective
I thought we had
clothing.
Cowboys here or something. Okay.
No. Haven't found this cowboy boot that will fit the standard, but they are a local vendor to our shoe program.
Lehigh has them. Okay, that's got it. Tab 4, there's nothing for nursing home division. Standing committee reports. Executive committee.
No, things are progressing as far as the escrow audit has been filed, it was completed and filed, and I believe that's what this is in front of your binder. And the SEC continuing disclosure agreement, self-disclosure review is with the bond counsel now, and that is being reviewed as we speak as well.
Okay, any questions on executive committee? Personnel committee, Mr. Howard.
Tab is that on there?
Maybe.
The agenda, favorite person, do the first one.
Bookkeeping?
And after the first tab, and that one, go back to the one page, everything.
Part-time labor vacancy, and then we had a bookkeeping position. I see we did have one person that was interested in hiring. That was our former HR person in Cassie. Can you give us a little update on that?
Well, that matter's not before the board for action this evening. We do have my memo that was prepared after completing the interviews for bookkeeper. Just to refresh the board, we went through a bookkeeper search after we had no applicants for the finance officer, which was a position we didn't follow. We had 5 applicants for the position. We scheduled all 5 for interviews. One canceled before the interview was scheduled, and a second candidate, which had been Mary Ann Panko, our internal administrative assistant, went through the interview process. But before we completed the interview, she obviously left us and resigned. So there were 3 candidates, and subsequent to that, Casey Garden applied for the position and was also interviewed. And for reasons outlined in my memo, that's my recommendation, but it's not completed this evening.
Well, there was one that was, I got an email from her, I don't see it on the package here, but one was, I said,
Oh, it was
I'll
one
have
of
it on
the,
my package.
was it one of the ones that came,
numbers that were on there. I think I put it wrong. I just gotta put it by where the numbers sit. But one of them said, this is your interview, she was deemed overqualified for the position. Was she interested in it?
Yes, very much so.
And she was would work for the pay? So how's
We
she?
did negotiate any salary, we never discussed salary during the interview process.
Well, it's always still good to look from within to,
Sure.
so that's off the agenda tonight?
That appointment? Yes.
How comes that?
I think it should go through a committee before it
Well,
gets to the board.
I discussed that with Debbie.
Today?
No,
Oh,
last
it
week.
just came out? It wasn't available Monday at the executive committee, so it just came out today.
And then we did, but it was also discussed at executive committee.
Ron, if you wanna move it tonight, you make a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion. Well,
Oh, it's not on this, not on committee report.
Motion's always in line. I'll second this motion.
You can make a motion now if you want to.
yes, I'll make a motion to bring that back on the board agenda tonight.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. If it gets voted down, the motion to hire, and once we kind of have some other facts and figures in front of us, and we decide that this is the candidate, I mean, because she wasn't approved this time, I mean, does that stop her from being?
No, you can always bring another motion, and
Okay.
it can be put for a new vote.
Okay, I'm not hearing well, you don't talk real loud. So, this young lady that we're looking at, this Cassie, whatever it is.
Casey.
All right,
Our HR generalist.
you do or do not recommend her?
I do recommend it.
You do, and she worked, it looks like she worked here during time for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, she's been
And then
there
she
for
quit?
years. No,
She's still
no, she's still here.
I thought it
Our
said 210 to 12.
first administrative assistant, Mary Ann, who initially applied for the position, left us for the jail. She's now employed by the jail. And I believe Casey was not going to put in for the position because Mary Ann was interested in the position, so they didn't want to.
And what she's suggesting here is she's gonna save us money by combining
Mhm.
positions. All right? And then you said something about another person was overqualified?
Well, it's in the,
That she was an actual CPA. There were actually two, I think, you had
The first,
discussed.
yeah, there were two CPAs who
Is
put in
it?
for the position. The first one is the one who withdrew her interest before we even got a chance to interview her. Presumably she got another position.
But the
Second one.
concern with people that are quote overqualified is they're just here for a period of time till they find something else.
Normally when you were qualified, you just, that's a stepping stone.
They're just, yeah, it's just,
was she retired? You
No.
overqualified?
She did not
I didn't know
indicate
which
she
one you.
retired. She
So-
indicated
Which
she
one?
left because the position that she had was relocated down to Florida.
so what are we trying to do today, Bob? I'm confused here. You took it off of the agenda
Yeah,
because.
it really, I never heard names at the executive committee, and I don't think you did either, at your call-in meeting on the 7th or whatever it was.
Just have the names.
You want a list of the names of applicants?
I just didn't want to, I didn't think it had to be done tonight.
And I didn't really like that, that you were, one of the things you had said is that Casey applied for the position because she's worried about her job. And I don't think that's a reason to apply for a position now. She could have applied for the position before Mary Ann because Mary Ann didn't think she was going to get the position, which was one of the reasons why she, felt like she wasn't going to move up in the organization, which is one of the reasons why she left. And, I don't think it's a great reason to apply for a position that you may or may not be qualified for because you're worried about your job. And, I want to think about that, and, I would like to see a little bit more about, I don't have any idea who the other applicant is.
Well, this position, as I recall, is over Michelle, right, or Michelle Gambler, right?
No,
Yeah,
it's a lateral.
Lateral?
Yeah.
Who's Denise?
Denise is the fee accountant, she's a
Yes.
contractor,
That's the bookkeeper. That, this position was taking the place of Denise?
except the, except the
you know,
fee accountant will, obviously be responsible for a period of time for training.
I don't know how you can go from that to a.
It's not a supervisor's position, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm not ready to make that comment.
Move the motion then.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Discussion's complete. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed.
Opposed?
What this means is we're gonna have 30 days to think about this, right?
Yeah, well, our next meeting's the second Thursday in December.
So,
Anything else with your report?
Salary increases on the benefit, right? And very good, update on this, health insurance.
Sure, we have completed finally with all the input from the state health benefits, the review of the medical and prescription insurance, and of course we recommend to stay with state health benefits for that. We've completed the brokering for the short-term disability plan and recommend to stay with Guardian. And then for dental, because Aetna has indicated that they will not renew our policy. And we did have the brokers look at that. They did have 3 vendors who submitted proposals to us, that Premier, Principal, and a third one, which is Delta Dental. And we're recommending tonight, through resolution later this evening, that you go with Principal. They're the lowest cost remaining provider.
Looking for the pay increases that we had.
Yeah, that's back further.
Yeah, that's under new business, the very last section, the very last
But
document.
you reviewed them there, okay?
Yeah,
They got through the committee. Anything else?
that's all I have.
Yes, solid waste committee, Mr. Groves.
We had a long meeting on the 6th. Most of the meeting was taken up by fretting over whether the DEP is gonna approve ourselves, because we were running out of room very quickly. But we got the approval the next day, on the 7th, I think, right, Debbie?
Actually, later that
And
afternoon.
later that afternoon. So we spent a lot of time planning for Plan B and C if we didn't get our approvals, and it ended up happening right then, which was a great thing because of the lack of space on the other cell. We're moving forward on that, and then there's a lot of other items that we talked about. Everything's running smoothly, except for we're having voltage problems with DCO. And
And there was a
concerning
committee meeting to talk about them or something, the voltage problem?
after that, yeah, later that day. Any progress there, or they're still fishing?
ACE is coming out next week to
Nice.
run their meter crew on the 18th or 19th. I just found that out before the meeting.
Good.
What effect is it always causing us?
Well, we can't test our pumps in cell 9 because the voltage is too high and it trips the motor savers. So we have a plan to shut down the generator to test the pumps. That's being arranged by Ray Smith from RE Pearson, Chalmers Electric, and DCO. We're trying to get a date so that we can test the pumps. And shutting down the generator should give us the right voltage so that we can test the pumps. But it's not a permanent fix. We have to do something. And there's a lot of
Shutting
discussion.
down the generators puts you on Atlantic Electric voltage, right?
Mhm.
So if that works, it's all DCO, right?
No,
There's a problem with the interconnection. DCO says they're running 480 to 490 with intolerance. Atlantic's saying they're running 480 to 490 with intolerance. But when both are running, we're having a high voltage problem.
they're saying it's the pushback on the generator giving the voltage
The
to,
lead
yeah,
delay.
yeah. Not good.
Can we tie that right into Atlantic Electric,
Not yet.
the pumps?
Well, if we shut down the generator to test them, that's what we're gonna be doing.
We want to probably tie it in directly to DCO.
If we can't fix it, we tie in Atlantic Electric, but they're okay. I mean, I don't know how much trouble that is.
No, we already tied in directly to
Yeah,
it.
we're already in
Atlantic
there.
is
Yeah.
really our supplier. But DCO's line goes past where we get our electricity from.
So they're contaminating the flow.
Yes, that's kind of what's happened.
That's a good way to put it.
Plan B.
We're working on it.
We talked about all the permits that need to be renewed very soon, and we talked about equipment, the tarp, gas wells, water in the gas wells. So there's a lot of things going on, and the staff is right on top of everything, and they're doing a great job.
There's something with the tarp that you're doing in the wintertime, is that in?
Well, we took off those cross lines that hold the vertical lines in place, because what happens is when we get a heavy snowfall, it causes more tension and pulls those lines down. So those are disconnected now, so we just have the vertical line ropes with the sandbags hooked up.
That it? Thank you. Innovation and technology.
Well, it's my understanding that the equipment has been ordered and maybe in, and we hope that things are progressing, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be voice over.
Thank you for your reports, and if, without objection, I'll have these reports received and filed. Hearing none, they are. Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item tab number 6, you have my executive director's report. I'll not highlight anything other than to note that our Title V air permit will need to be renewed and modified on April 30th of 2015, so we did ask the engineer for a proposal to prepare that permit application. We are continuing to work on the operations and maintenance manual. We're on our second draft of that document. That is also something that will go in to the DEP.
That's with the engineers.
It's back with staff now. The engineers updated it and they're reviewing the changes. The SEC continuing disclosure review was behind tab number 2 if you want to take a look at it. There will be some self-disclosure requirements that we'll have to fulfill. We did a conference call with Bond Council for Thursday of this week to discuss the language thereof. We are in the ship with every other public entity, municipalities, counties, authorities across the entire state. No one has gone through this review process with a clean slate. The two problematic areas that seemingly everyone has is the bond rating for the counties. When those change, all of those notices need to be filed with all bondholders at that time, and that has not been proactively done by any entity, not the county, not the municipalities, and not the authorities. And the second thing, the timing of the linkage to documents that are required to be filed, such as our audits, to this ML website. The QSIP numbers are very time sensitive, so you can file your audit on time for the 2013 funding that we just did with the county. The QSIPs have to be done day by day for the rest of the bond issues, so you'll see a lot of late filings thereof. The good news is the documents have been filed, but they were filed late. So that's where the host of our disclosures will be coming from.
And when we go out for RFPs, that will be included in the RFPs to make sure that for the next year.
For the financial advisor, yes. Budget 2015, we did receive confirmation back from Division of Government Services that has asked for a 30-day review time. It is, having talked to the auditor, not anything that they've seen before, but apparently they are backed up with these new budget documents, and everyone is being asked to give them at least a 30-day extension, if not more.
Well, was everybody late doing theirs?
Everyone is in the same pretty much queue. There was only one authority who has a fiscal year end December 31st that was done. So we've moved the public hearing and adoption schedule to our regular meeting December 11th unless they come back and approve it before then. In terms of, we have the Improvement Authority Association down at the League of Municipalities will be doing a presentation for all the attendees on November 19th. We did receive our renewal for our insurance with Statewide Insurance Fund, and we did get confirmation today that our Leach 810 has been added to those policies. Other than that, there's a series of meetings that you see there. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Is the, how's the insurance cover the towers?
We provide them a certificate, they provide us a certificate.
So they cover the ground, they cover the tower?
Yeah.
Are they covering liabilities?
We do, yeah.
Wait, who's they? They is a.
SBA.
Okay,
SBA.
okay. I didn't know if you knew, the company,
Yeah,
the
that's
insurance, yeah, it's on.
Any questions about the report, executive director's report? None, I haven't received any file. Unfinished business. So the SEC disclosure is this.
No, that's the escrow, that the SEC disclosure is the last probably 20 pages. I'm sorry. Take that back. We have 3 pages there for his community benefits agreement, and then we have another 10 pages on the disclosure. And there's no action to be taken at the board level.
It's the kind of questionnaire they're looking for.
Wasn't the mayor talking about this meeting?
No. Okay, we have the Alloway Host Community Economic Benefit. We have a letter that was sent to him that was our, at your request after the last meeting, just to keep the record straight. But
What we proposed to him at our meeting,
Mhm.
and he sent the letter so he can take it to his people.
that we met, and that wasn't sufficient for him. He wants it tied to the CPI, and it's adjusted every 4 years based on every year's increase or decrease in the CPI. And he wants the CPI or the percentage CPI or the percentage of our increase in type 10 municipal waste, whichever is the lower.
Now, seeing that came from the clerk, was his board involved in that decision?
He says yes, so we need to come back with a counter proposal or sign the contract the way it is and work on we have 4 years to work on the details for the increases.
He was a little unclear as to which CPI he wanted to use.
We asked the auditor to review that, and the auditor came back that we don't want to mess with CPI. It's too variable, it's too much, and no one does CPI on these kind of increases. The auditor thought it should be a flat fee,
And
like it
he
was
also-
last time.
Yeah, he also noted that, you need to know the ups and downs, pros and cons of anything that you do, but also from a municipal standpoint and an authority standpoint, that you're better off with both entities knowing what the rate increases are going to be, whether it's a fixed dollar amount or fixed rate, so that when we're putting our budget together, we're putting our budget together because we're in different cycles. We're very clear about what everybody's planning for. I said if we're using something that's as variable, that can change, from week to week, month to month, year to year, it's going to be very difficult to tell what's anticipated revenue at the municipal level versus what we're projecting paying.
And then you add to that the fact that their tonnage is variable, then you really don't, they would have, I would think on their side, would have an even more difficult time trying to budget projected revenues. Because not only do they have to do the CPI, they have to do the tonnage, they have to do their best guess on tonnage, they have to do CPI as well. And we gave him some alternatives, and he didn't think that they were going to be amenable to the rest of the board, but he was going to go back and speak with them, and we said that we would talk to the accountants and get their input.
And the accountants were a fixed fee,
Yeah,
no
on a fixed
CPI.
fee.
So knowing that, do we have a fixed fee in mind that we're gonna present to him?
Well, we were 5 cents every 4 years
Before.
last time.
Is that acceptable to everybody on the board?
Here,
Yes, 5 cents is not acceptable to them.
To them,
We
no.
tried that.
Even though we pointed out that the proposal for the CPI rate increase, let's say for the last 3 years since we've had an increase, equates to about 5 cents.
yeah.
Yeah. or was it?
Well, we did the 5 cents every 4 years.
Mhm.
You know, we can go back 5 cents every year. That's a lot of money.
I just have a problem doing anything more if we didn't increase our rate, I have a problem giving them anything more. In the year that we didn't increase ours, why would they be getting more, right?
How about 5 cents or,
Well, see, and I think that's why in the original contract, you know, it was 5 cents every, how many years is it, Debbie?
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years,
Regardless of
because
what our rates
they
were.
were looking that, you know, we'll give, you know, for the most part, where there's gonna be some sort of increase, and, you know, they certainly didn't want to discount, you know, the fact that Alloway should get an increase. But, you know, they got a huge increase on their base per ton, and really thought they were gonna be greatly amenable to that, and then they came back and wanted, you know,
But at the same time, the payment in lieu of taxes went away.
that is correct.
All right, so here's the part I'm struggling with.
well, it's gone if he agrees to the whole deal.
Yes, but at the same time, okay, are we agreeing to more hours? That's what I don't know. Are we agreeing to more hours?
No.
No, we're not gonna do that, all right.
No, if you look at just,
And he's not going to close their facility, their facility.
No.
No, that's totally off the table.
All right.
And
on
he's,
the first item on tab 8 is the resolution for the tariff, and if you look at it, it looks like, and my reading of it is from 2008 to 2012, there was no change in the tipping fee. So, if that, you know, there's no increase for them anymore.
Why don't we, why don't we just give them whatever percentage ours goes up, if we go up 1.6% in our rates to the type 10 trash, why don't we just give them I don't,
well, over the course of, let's say we increase it, you know,
That's every
2
year.
cents, that would be 8, they would end up with 8 cents, as opposed to never have they, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad thing if they didn't get such a huge per ton increase, because they went from 150 to 273. I mean, that,
how many tons do you have to get to offset that $60,000?
202,
202, and what is our,
$2 and,
no,
$2,
know.
yeah.
I'm saying, how many tons do we have to come up with to offset? Anything excess of X amount of tons would mean they were ahead of the game, and anything below that, they were behind the game there.
Well, that's
So-
kind of hard to, because we base it on 90,000
90,000
tons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the estimate,
The
but
total.
last year was 110 or something, this year is projected 110 or something.
But your basis on 90,000 tons, when we do 110, okay, they're way ahead of the game then, at that point.
Yeah,
Because
they're
like
ahead.
251,
Right,
they're
yeah,
not getting 251 on the first 90,000 tons and then a smaller
Correct.
amount less
correct,
beyond that.
correct.
Yeah, 251 the whole way.
Okay, but it's 273.
270.
See, if you, by putting in the $60,000, it takes them from 150 to
205.
205. Okay, so that's their break even at 205. Then we went above and beyond that, giving them 273. So that's why I said it's difficult to see when they're going to make additional money. They're making additional money no matter what. It's just, and that we agreed upon, but it's this, okay, now what are you going to give us every year after that?
Squat.
Well, we were trying to be, at least, let's see what it's been in the past, you know, that kind of thing. But they really wanted, the CPI, we just think that's bad all the way around. And the accountant is saying, please don't do that, and we kind of agree with that. You know, we're gonna certainly take their, so
Well, they
we're,
don't like 5%, what percent are they asking for?
um,
Well, they want the percentage that we increase.
yeah.
Can we say that and then put a cap on top of it, not to exceed? Like, we'll give you the, whatever you wanna say, and then cap it off at a certain number if it really blows up. Because they don't need to make more if we're, we gotta take care of the extra trash. So they're getting what they want, and we have a cap, then it won't go over.
But I think as she just explained to us, they're already way ahead of the game. to get the $60,000 back, then you need to get to X amount of tons, and then we're getting them more tons than that, so they're getting everything past X amount of tons is like free money to them. I see it as free money.
But
Yeah.
if more tonnage comes into the town, that means more truck noise, more trash on the side of the road, more traffic, so they should benefit a little bit. So if we put a cap on it, they'll be happy, we'll be happy, and we'll be done with it.
Well, we tried to do that, but their cap, well, what we thought was fair and what they thought was fair were two different things. So that's why, you know, Bob's first proposal was we take the average of what our increases are, because they want to do this in multiple years. They don't want to do it every year because we don't want to have to go back and negotiate. Totally agree with that. You know, so we said, okay, we'll give you the average of what our increases are. So if we have an average increase of 2%, you'll get 2%. Well, they didn't want that. They wanted 2% every year.
Yeah, the example was 2% a year, and we have, every 4 years, we say 2%, the average, and he says 8% the total.
So we split it, we said, okay, what about 4? No.
Half, or double the average.
Yeah, we said, if we double yeah, so that wasn't, so we're kind of, we left it that we were gonna talk to an accountant, he was gonna go back and talk to the township committee.
And if we can't decide, we'll give it to the state to decide for us.
Yeah, we did tell him that.
Who decides that? BPU?
They probably won't get a favorable decision from that.
No, I don't think they will, and they haven't, the BPU hasn't given a good one yet, so that's on the table also.
Hopefully they realize it.
So you did go from 2 to 4, I still say that.
It's still so- Well, it's,
Well, he said he didn't think that
we
they
went
would.
we went from the average to twice
Twice.
the average,
Yeah,
or the 4 years divided by 2. instead of-
they're really stuck on the CPI is where they were stuck. They really didn't, he didn't really wanna move from that, so.
And the state won't approve the CPI, so.
Anyway, that's what we're on.
Unfinished business, we have the cell tower. SBA.
Shall I call for a meeting for this public discussion, so we can talk about how this gets booked? Or hear from Jean first?
Unless Jean's discussion will help Henry.
I spoke to Henry, and he said he could be available by phone if you need him, but if you don't want to talk to him, he doesn't have anything to say that he hasn't already said to me, and I put it in my memo, and I copied it to him, so I think if he had if he disagreed with anything, he would have contacted me or said something, but of course, if you have any questions with him, he is available.
Yes. So you want to go
So-
through your memo, I think we just have to.
Sure, yes, I just sent this to you yesterday. I did speak to the representative from SBA who sent us the proposals. And the proposals that were in that two-page letter were not very detailed, so that's why I contacted her, because I actually wanted to look at the agreement, the terms of the agreement itself, rather than her short description of it in the letter. So, as I said in my memo, there are basically two different options if you want to consider them. Of course, you don't have to do anything, you could just leave everything as it is. But the first option is to agree to give SBA an easement for the property in exchange for a buyout in the amount of $280,000. So it would be a lump sum payment of $280,000. That would be accounted for as a lump sum payment. You could account for it as surplus, and you could use it if you wanted to, but it would just go on the books as surplus if you didn't use it. The second option is a buyout of the lease. Right now, the lease is for a total amount of 30 years if it's renewed each term. So you would be buying, SBA would be buying out additional time, so we would get a lump sum payment of $143,000. And unlike the easement option, here, the monthly payments under the lease would continue, but they would be smaller. Right now, we get, about $1,432.86 per month for the lease that we're under now. If they buy out the current lease and it gets extended for 99 years, you would get the lump sum and your payments, monthly payments would continue, but they would only be a little over $300 per month. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. A lot of them are obvious, but if you have any questions, I'll of course take your questions.
So on option one, where we transfer the property and the tower, they transfer the property to them,
Well-
the 280? And I was wondering how, if that's the case, how do you sell property like that?
It's a,
Without going out through a process?
it would be a transfer of an interest in the property, but you would not be selling the entire property. They would be given an easement right in the property. So you're not,
Okay, so we still own the property?
you still own the property.
Kind of like a utility, if they were to put a
Okay.
transmission tower up.
But your rights to the property are less than the rights you have now as a landlord, because the lease, the easement agreement that you would enter into would say, you basically have no right to enter onto that property while they are using it for the easement. They can put a fence up around it, they can exclude you from the property, and they can basically do what they want with it.
And we can exclude it from our property,
Yes,
which is more important, I would think.
right, well, you can do that now. They have no rights to go onto any portion of the property.
And our
except-
fenced in,
They're fenced in, but tied to our fence. They
so,
can come into our property
so
in order to get to
they're
their fence.
proposing to put in a fence
We've
to
asked them to do that.
isolate. Okay, that would have to be one of the conditions if we went to option one.
How much property is that anyway, except one?
It's small. The footprint is literally the tower, small outbuilding,
Is that,
room to
is
put a car in.
that unipole or is it guy? Is it guy wires on it?
No, it's uniform.
I think a couple of things that are important to consider is, of course, if you left things as they are right now, long-term, if the lease stays in effect for the 30 years, over the course of the lease, you make more money in the long run. But she explained to me, the woman from SBA, and of course, you gotta remember where it's coming from SBA, but she said that the technology changes, which is, I would accept that, it changes very quickly, so we don't know how long that pole is gonna be needed. So, and then on top of that, we have SBA has tenants on the pole. Right now it has one tenant, that's Verizon, and we don't know how long Verizon is going to be a tenant of SBA. So there are a couple things that could impact whether SBA is gonna continue the lease for 30 years, because they're not tied in for 30 years. They could terminate the lease at any time. That's an important consideration for you, I
So
think.
take the money and run.
Well, I think it
Sounds
depends
like
on what is the risk. What do you think the risk is that they're gonna terminate the lease before the 30 years?
Big possibility because of technology, and then we'll have to pay to take the tower down.
Well, I think that with the technology changing,
That's their tower?
There's
So
no,
they'll take
they
it
have
down.
to do that.
this is a classic
What triggers
case.
them taking it down?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What triggers them taking the tower down?
If it's obsolete.
I know, but how do we, in the planning board, we would make them bond, we would bond them to make sure that they had the money to do that. How do we work it?
That is something I think we should put in the agreement, because it does say that they can terminate the easement if the tower is no longer being used, but there's nothing in the agreement that says that they have to remove it. It says that they can, but it doesn't say that they have to, so I think that is something important to put in the agreement if that's what you want to do, the easement.
Yeah, I think something should be.
In either of,
Right,
in
right.
either of the options, option one or option two,
Mhm.
or keep it the same option even.
All right,
But go ahead.
Well, I think it's a classic case with the technology, as you're saying, changes. This is a classic case if you can kill it, you can shear a sheep many times, but you can only kill it once. So we sell this, it's gone. The problem is this sheep may die before we get a chance to shear it many times. And I think that if we had to tell them that we're gonna take this down, we also should leave an option in, an option that if the county had any interest in it before they tore it down, that should be something that we offered too, I think, before they I don't know.
Here you go.
Yeah, if there's not a
All
better
yours.
use.
No, I mean, I'm not saying I want you to buy, I'm just saying that you may have a use for it, and they tear it down, say, oh, well, why didn't you leave the tower up? We could use that, you know? Especially if this is a backup emergency place of some sort, so,
Yeah, if
but,
there's a better use for it, yeah, that should be
yeah.
an option.
But I think I could be talked into selling it, I think I could be talked into that.
Yeah, I could.
That's a lot of money, 280,000, and it'd be nice to have that in surplus.
How
But
much is
just
280?
keep in mind, you're giving up your monthly income.
How much is 280?
Guaranteed just monthly income.
Well, yeah, you don't wanna spend it all in a year, that's for sure.
Right, and Henry did indicate that his concern is with the surplus, so, if your plan is to take the money and buy equipment with it, I don't think, that would not be such a good idea, but if you're gonna use the money and put it in surplus for a rainy day, I think that might be a good
I
option.
think that's, the rainy day's 3 years away, and we need to bank for it.
And I think Henry did say that the 280, I think she said, could be taken in and, put into surplus right away. If you take the other option, the 143,
It's amortized.
it's there for your use immediately, but it shows on your books for whether it be the 99 years or the
Right.
25 years or whatever term you agree to.
Right, I don't know if I did note that too, that, the original proposal said 99 years, but in speaking to her, she did say that that could be reduced to less than 99 years to extend the lease. If that was your concern.
I guess the only other question I have is, why do they want to do this?
Well, SBA wants to make sure that you don't sell the lease
Yeah, the renewal's coming up,
to anyone else, so they want to keep control.
and they probably have some clients ready to, some users ready to use the tower, but
Possibly.
they need the extension to do that.
Right, that's right.
And you've already had other offers, what I call from the bankers, the poaching bankers who want to get their piece of this that will make you an offer, albeit much less than this. If you think about the last offer you had at Unison was, I want to say, $50,000-$60,000.
Right.
Who would like to be a third party in these leases, and I think from SBA's standpoint, that complicates anything they do on their own site when there's a third party involved.
There's nothing to say that we can't go back to them and say 280 is nice, but 300,000 sounds better.
You can, I tried. I did ask her if that was negotiable. She said that she would not go above, they would not go above 280.
And the only other question that I had on it really had to do with, the landfill. Do they have any issues that they can foresee that they would need that eighth of an acre or whatever it is in the next, I think that we say, okay, we only want the lease for the next 25 years or, 30 years. Do you see that this is gonna be a problem for the landfill?
Like selling something, they come back and have to lease it again.
I'd say it's pretty much
Out of,
Main Street,
it's,
which is I think where it's located now.
It's supposed to be, can you see that, the shadow here, so it's right here?
Yeah, it's
Right,
right behind
right,
the
right,
convenience center.
Yeah.
I see the shadow.
So, I mean,
it
if
must be
you-
the tower.
Went to town and enlarged the convenience center and you found out that was in the way.
But this part can't be enlarged, part of the you're getting
That's your
close,
buffer
you're getting
area.
close to wetlands
You
and,
don't want to touch it.
yeah, so that's.
There's a greater likelihood, as there was in the past, that, the county had hung an antenna out there for our communication purposes before we entered into a shared service agreement with the college. And that had been our connection, to the outside world before we did it through the college. So, that antenna still sits there for use, when you're doing communication out there as well.
does that need to be included if we have, that we can use it as a backup for, can we put that in there? No, pretty much it's their tower.
Right, once you grant the easement.
So we have no need for it? I don't see any need for it. We'll be voice over IP.
Yeah,
soon.
our plan is not to go back that way.
Something else to consider is, once you grant this easement, you can't use it as collateral. You can't use this portion of the property as collateral for any loan that you have. So I don't know that that would affect anything. but it's a relatively small portion of the entire parcel. So I don't think the decrease in value would really affect.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've used it for collateral. It's not our tower.
Does it get added to, in our audit at all, that, I mean, would we have to take that piece off of, what the value of our property
Value of
is?
the land.
That,
Yeah.
did you get
It
it?
it would be expense. You would see, there would be
Like
a
what
change
we
in your
counted.
regular financial audit.
Because we would have to
After
read
this
it.
transaction.
Yeah, they're right there on the counter if you'd like to use one of
Oh,
our.
yeah, the one right behind you.
We've
Right.
been killing them all day, there was like 4 of them in here.
They'll all be dead by the weekend.
There was 5 of them,
5?
if you
Okay.
killed 4.
Okay.
You missed one.
Make
So-
an offer or a motion that we send them an offer for 300,000 to go ahead and sell it to them and see what they say. I know you said they told you no, but it's worth a shot. We got time.
Are we all convinced that we want to sell it? That's option one. Is that what we all think, or we want to dwell on it, or what?
How do we do
I
that?
think option 1 is the way to
Yeah.
go.
I
I
agree.
don't know that we need to milk it another $20,000 out of them.
What's it hurt?
We can try it. but it-
If they say no, we're right back to where we started. I mean,
So what I would ask for then is, I need to know whether you want me to go forward with negotiating for an easement, which is option 1, or the lease extension, which is option 2.
Option 1, to me,
Option 1.
draw a hole.
Okay.
and with something about the tower coming down at the end, right?
Right,
Right.
right. So right now,
Exactly.
if someone could make a motion to authorize me to negotiate with SBA for an easement agreement, I'll bring back the proposed easement agreement to you for your final authorization, but for now, you just authorize me to start negotiations and then prepare what I recommend to be the final agreement, and then you can vote on it at the next meeting or whenever it's
Yes.
available.
I'll make that
Sounds like a
motion.
plan. Got a motion, second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
I'm just gonna let him know.
New business. New business is the tariff increases. We worked 2% and 3% on the rates. Just to give us an increase so we can pay for the next bill and still be competitive with the adjoining counties. And there's a resolution, and I've lost the number.
101.
Move for adoption?
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? We have the rates, there should be a legal sheet there in this one. Should be right at the end of, back in
Deadly.
Great. We have motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? What's on this?
It's on the contracts and all the customer accounts.
Resolution authorizing a customer refund. This is for $8,500. It was a customer that put in an escrow amount.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing sale of various pieces of surplus equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, we just added a truck to this?
Yes. It's for the Silverado truck. You want
Yeah, what happened to the Silverado?
to,
Had a brake failure.
Brake failure.
Yeah, and it's the same one that's been giving us a lot of electrical issues.
At the bottom of the hill, it's not a problem, is it?
Say again?
At the bottom of the hill, it's not a problem, is it?
No, it's been giving us a lot of problems now. How long did you struggle for it?
Oh,
3-4 months to get
good
electrical
3
issues?
months to try to get the electrical problem troubleshooted.
Troubleshot
Yeah.
and fixed.
So when you have a problem, you get the new guy driving. That's a new guy driving.
No,
Okay.
and
Okay, we have a motion and a second. For the resolution authorizing the public sale of area surplus equipment deemed not needed for public use by the SCIA and to participate in a public sale. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have some healthcare waivers, I guess we,
Echo Deals is the next one. Yeah. They do have to be 2 separate resolutions, and they're surplus.
reviews. Oh, there it is. Resolution authorizing disposal of surplus properties by GovDeals.com. Take a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? This is the equipment we just disposed of. There's not any bales of light plastic or anything. Now we're on.
State healthcare plan.
Resolution setting healthcare waiver compensation. Full-time employees that have medical coverage by another source get a waiver or get a fee. The fee is variable, I guess.
It's 25% of the savings of the plan, not to exceed $5,000. As long as their other insurance is not state health benefit.
And we have 4,
We have 4 employees who currently waive. Employees can waive any time through the year. 2 do have other coverage provided by state health benefits, 2 do not.
okay, I have a resolution setting healthcare waiver compensation. Motion,
So moved.
second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution establishing a fairness and process for the awarding of professional services contracts for the improvement plan. This is a standard every year, but the dates are shifting a bit this year. Then January 22nd for opening.
Move for adoption.
There's a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a motion to change dental insurance carrier. We have a memo from the executive director. I think she just spoke about it during her report. as principal, $9,940 annual premium. Your budget is $10,000, so we just made it. Now, a motion, no, I think, yeah, this is just a motion. A motion to approve that change
So
in
moved.
carrier. Or second.
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 Any discussion? I guess, Aetna, who we had, or refused to mess with it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have a motion approving vacation carryover requests for 2014. We have some people that get sick time or vacation time by the hour.
Your part-timers accrue by the hour, so they'll be accruing up until the last day of work of December 31st. And without the approval to carry over what they've earned, they would, lose that time. So it's going to be a very small amount. Most are going to be using their time up through November anyway.
So it's just a day or two. Most of them,
Except in the
except
last
for
one,
Casey.
yeah, she's got a 3-day request for carryover. And everybody will use their time by March 31st, which is the board's policy.
And this is only for part-time?
No, 4 out of the 5 are part-time.
Okay.
The policy goes for everybody, but
All right.
Is that motion?
I'll make that motion.
So, second.
Any discussion? Anything approved? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have wage adjustments. Did you review these at committee?
we have a
Yeah.
folded over page.
We did.
Should be the last thing before tab 9.
So I'm looking at this correctly, Debbie, what you're suggesting is some people that have exceeded expectations, we give them an increase plus a one-time
Yeah,
$1,000
there's
reward.
2 particular situations. And I know one-time spot awards are very unusual, but we had 3 equipment operators on cell 8 this year who, I'm going to say without their years of experience and their finesse, would not have gotten the life out of that cell to get us to the point where cell number 9 would be open. And those 3, I do believe deserve this one-time, additional increase. That's not something that goes on and on forever. The other 2 are individuals that have picked up additional responsibilities since the departure of the administrative assistant in my office, and are doing work that I would consider outside of the realm for a short period of time. And then you see that we do have a range there. The budget was a 3% budget. This does fall within that 3% budget. Whether it meets expectation or exceeds expectations, and what the range increases are.
Only the Scrooge of the bunch. I know they went without a raise for a period of what, 3 years, was it?
4.
4 years without. And then, I'm not gonna pick on Melinda, but I think, didn't she not get a 5% increase last year? I know you're asking for 5% again this year.
And she's still significantly below her peers.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Significantly.
even wanna get into peers. This is what the job is here, this is what you're paid, and, when I take the job, I don't say, well, what, somebody makes such and such, this is what you pay me. I'm finding the whole, from anywhere from 5 down to 2, to be more than, if I'm gonna go back to my township and, a municipality, I can't see anybody getting more than 2 in the township. When I do the courts next month, I'm sure it's not gonna be 2%. I'm having a problem with those numbers.
Yeah, I would like to see it put off until the December meeting, so we have a chance to review this.
Just so you know, by December 11th, you probably wouldn't have time to get them in for the January increases, just so you're aware of that.
We could always do retroactive.
What's it take to put them in for January?
You need them by that second pay of December in order for them to be effective.
For the
I'm just saying
14th,
it's
for
cutting
the
it
pay
very
of the
close.
14th of January?
The paycheck is written on January 14th. It's pay, it goes into effect January 1st.
Yeah, but they don't calculate on that till the,
Why don't we go on the record, and I don't wanna use Melinda as a example, but she's underpaid and a great asset and employee to this
I
company.
think we all agree to that.
And it's embarrassing what she gets paid, really, when you look across the board what other places are paying.
Yes, I just think we need a little bit more time to review it, that's all.
And you're gonna pay more money by, you're gonna have to go through the retro pay process, and
Not if we do, I don't think if we get December, the December meeting.
Debbie just said, no, that's
I
not true.
know. It's a January 13th check. I mean, how much time does it take to change the number on a computer?
Well, if you don't hire the,
There are benefits and pension tied to that, it's not just a pay.
So when was the last time they had an increase?
They had an
Last
increase
year.
last year.
Oh, last year.
They went up.
But they
Period
went,
of time,
yeah,
yeah.
a significant period of time
Okay, close to
without
3
any
years.
increases.
Okay, correspondence. Yeah. No motion to approve the vision.
Is there a motion to table this or just?
What we
Yeah,
can,
we don't need a motion to table it, there's no motion pending right now unless, nobody made the motion, so.
it's table, so it's. Correspondence, anybody have any questions about the correspondence? So is there anything more with the, executive session thing? Any questions on correspondence? I don't have it. I'd like to open for public session. Any public comment? Who might you be?
My name's Ann Sullivan, and thanks for your email, I appreciate that. I have a couple of questions on when you change the tariff, and you all voted on it, then what's the process? Where does it go from here?
I think it goes to BPU for approval.
This actually gets sent to the DEP.
I'm
Not
sorry?
really for, it gets sent to the DEP, not necessarily for approval, just as information.
Okay.
And then it gets activated in our tipping fee schedule, and there's a customer notice that's provided.
I'm sorry, the BPU doesn't need?
No, I guess, no,
No, they do, who's community benefits.
yes.
Okay, so the DEP then, with the
They're
time,
advised of the increase, that's all.
they don't have to, that's what I'm saying, they don't have to approve it,
It's
or
just advised.
they're advised? And that you give them plenty of time, like for it to go into effect January 1st?
It goes into effect, it's just advised. They don't have any ability to change that.
They have no ability. Does anyone have, that's why I get confused, does anyone have ability to change the tariff? I mean, if they question the tariff, does anyone question that, does the Board of Public Utilities question any tariffs? They set tariffs?
We've
I don't
never
think
had
so.
Board of Public Utilities involved in any tariff here, it's all DEP.
It's all DEP. Okay, number two, for the part of that nice new tariff that you're including, you're charging, now you've developed a new, I'm not using that term, a new
Category. Got a new
Category.
category for shingles?
recycled asphalt shingles. So they come in at $65 a ton, and where do they go from there?
They get recycled.
They get,
We send it out for recycling somewhere, wherever the best price for recycling the shingles would be at that time.
Okay, and you're not taking them now? Because I thought my shingles went here. I feel like
I
I should
think this
turn
is the new
myself in.
requirement. that
So we are
everybody-
taking
No,
them.
we are.
I was gonna say,
We've been
okay, good.
recycling them
Yeah,
for
we just don't have a
years.
separate rate.
We just didn't have a separate waste type then.
They were mixed in with everything else, right?
Well, they
Construction?
came in, no, but we gave them a separate waste code so we can keep track of them,
Yeah,
and then they come in separated already.
that's what I was hoping, because I know a lot of people were coming here, I just want to make sure.
That's to add to our recycling rate.
And we want to improve that's, thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
Good segue.
No, I'm just saying, I was like, oh my God, I was pretty sure the shingles were coming here.
So if a roofer brings in a load of shingles, and he has other construction material in there,
This is
All
where,
going in the landfill if it's got other material, it has
Okay.
to be
but
sort
he
of
would have to
separated.
separate that.
Which we get a lot of phone calls about, so
This
we
is-
educate them before they ever bring it in. And these are mostly the do-it-yourselfer guys,
right, yes.
not your.
Now, is the shingle rate lower than the mixed rate? 66 or
This,
something?
the new tariff, you mean?
Yes.
It's very comparable, yeah. And
Yeah,
it costs us.
It's not cheaper for them if they mix it and bring it in as type 10 or something, or it's
No,
not type
actually, I
10.
believe it's higher.
That should be.
Mhm. But we have to pay for the hauling of the container and the recycling of the shingles. That's why the rate is what it is. Just like tires, we have to charge for tires because that's the rate that we pay to recycle them.
And about the cell tower, because I know Alloway gets involved in the zoning when it changes a lot of hands. I thought the original agreement was, and I think I ran for this one, that when it went up, I thought part of it was, forget who's been with this, I thought part of it was that whoever owned it, it was supposed to come down.
That's not in the agreement now.
But I mean, the original agreement, you don't have a copy of that?
That may be, it probably is in the existing lease
original one.
agreement.
We
I
just
don't
wanna
know.
make
Maybe-
sure it's.
It may be something the planning board did also.
Well, or the zoning, whoever, right, because I think Mr. Leslie, our zoning official, was always, what's going on at the land? And he's right around the corner, and people were talking about the cell tower, it was changing hands so frequently, and different owners. So I think he had to come out and inspect it once in a while, but I thought, I'm sure you guys will check, but I thought that was part of it, that they didn't want to worry about an empty vessel standing up there. So whether it's in the original agreement or not,
Yeah, we'll make it in the new one if it's not, we'll make sure it's in there.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Bob, I have a question, probably under new business. I know that we're locked into that lease down in Salem, but why couldn't we move everything back here and just try to rent that for something down there? Why wouldn't we save money all the way around?
That's my hope.
What do we do to get that pointed in the right direction?
We're gonna be working on it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not
If
far
we
off.
got
It's
if we
not
just
far
got peanuts for it, we'd still be ahead.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to talk to freeholders about that.
Yeah, I think we should rent it free, it needs space.
No, but there are some agencies that maybe they can help us
We always got plenty of money, but then,
strong arm
we'll
them.
give it to you the same price we have that. We'll discount 10%.
Not- Yeah, we'll discount it.
10%.
10%, absolutely, absolutely.
Sounds like a deal.
Yep.
Take good care of you. Go ahead, miss.
Okay, there's a public session, we're gonna close and.
Bye.
Oh, wait, no, we're not done.
Oh, you good? I
I'm
thought you
sorry,
were done.
I missed the whole light bulb thing, and I wasn't sure whether you gave enough out, because I've been knocking on the doors and I have addresses of people. If you've given them all that, that's wonderful, but otherwise
This
I.
weekend is the shredder event
Yeah.
at this facility, and that'll take care of all of them.
Okay,
There's
okay.
under 200 left.
Yeah, I was gonna try and help you out while I was here, because I got the big push on it, so thank you.
Well, the shredder event will take care of all of them,
Yes, sir.
because we get a good turnout on that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bob, a couple of things, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Debbie, you know, our bond rating is going up, which is a good thing for the county. You stated that there's some notifications that are required that have not been done. The county is supposed to notify,
Every bondholder that you've got.
and that has not been.
Oh, I don't know, it's just,
That's
But
usually
that
one of the
rating just went up.
things, you're undergoing through Katie's office, the same kind of bond review through the SEC that we're going through. In fact, our report was provided to Katie as well, because it's obviously the bond rating of the county that varies. But those notifications are to all bondholders. So you have bonds that are through the IA and you have bonds that are not through the IA. All of your bondholders need to be notified anytime that bond rating changes. And That's usually an area that has not been in compliance anywhere in the state with HOA.
Nobody's doing it. I don't want
And if you think back probably 5 years ago, before it was an electronic notification system to your bondholders, those had to be certified letters.
And the second thing, we just thought, and I don't think you'll ever need a space on that tower, but maybe in the lease you can put, say, we need one space allotted for us at some time if we need it. I don't know how many spaces there are on a tower,
No, it's not our tower, it's just, yeah.
but if you have no negotiation, you would have to actually rent, if you needed a spot, you would have to rent space from them unless you have it in the agreement that we get one spot if we need it.
Well, what we're contemplating is an easement, not a lease.
Okay,
So-
and same thing, an easement, they would not, it would be embarrassing to have to lease something from them that you've already, you know, it's on your property. Just thought, it's fine.
Okay, anything for regular session? We have a motion to tab 10 to go into executive session. A resolution authorizing executive session.
Move for adoption.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What number is that?
We have to leave the
Yes.
session.